Plenty of superheroes have superpowers. In fact, most of them have killer abilities. We all know the Hulk is mega strong, Superman has his heat vision, and Thor's lightning can fry a whole battalion of hostile Chitauri, or supercharge Iron Man's armor in 10 seconds flat. But there are plenty of superpowers that are commonly overlooked. Want to know what heroes have superpowers that are being kept secret? Keep watching to find out. We like that you watch us, and we'd like you to keep watching us, so be sure to subscribe to Screen Rant for more. Stop right there. Before we go any further, do you think you can guess the answer to our emoji quiz?
I'm really not in the mood for this tonight.
Daredevil. While everyone here knows about Daredevil's heightened senses, some would argue he doesn't have superpowers. This is because, according to in-comic lore, there's nothing about Daredevil's powers that couldn't be achieved by someone with a disciplined training regimen. Despite those claims, Daredevil is most definitely super. In the comics, he's able to detect minor disturbances in the atmosphere, alerting him to Nightcrawler's teleportation. In the MCU, much like the comics, he demonstrates the supreme hearing that we should expect from him. But something that often gets overlooked is his super balance. Human balance actually comes from our ears. So super ears equals super balance. Daredevil's sense of balance is outstanding, running and jumping from rooftop to rooftop. In fights, he performs techniques that would be considered high risk, low reward, to great effect without ever losing his footing or balance. The sort of techniques Daredevil pulls in a suit of protective armor are difficult for Taekwondo black belts to do in light clothing. While Daredevil has been criticized for not showing enough of the stunts that give the character his name, with the introduction of his famous Billy Club, this looks to change. We'll see more super balance soon.
Puny god.
Hulk. We all know Hulk's powers, right? He was exposed to gamma radiation, and now he's super strong. And because he's super strong, he can leap for miles. He's got great healing capability, and the angrier he gets, the more his power grows. The best way to change Hulk back into Bruce Banner is to calm him down. But one power you might not know he has is enhanced agility. Now, we're not talking about speed, we're talking about efficiency of movement. Generally, the bigger something is, the harder a time it has moving itself around. Elephants aren't doing the same sort of leaps and bounds that tigers can make. Hulk, on the other hand, has super agility, allowing him to move as freely as a character a tenth of his size. This power is frequently overlooked, probably because we don't think of the science behind superheroes quite as much as the other nerds do. Marvel definitely thought of it though. Not only did they make sure Hulk was every bit as powerful as he is in the comics, but they made sure that Hulk wasn't a big and lumbering monster like the Rancor. He's fast, he's nimble, and most importantly, he smashes. Captain America. Now nearly 100 years old in the MCU, Captain America was the first Avenger and now serves as the leader of the team, a man who literally commands gods. We all know about Cap's military skills. We all know about his super strength and endurance. Something that often gets forgotten about, though, is his heightened senses. While it may seem like every Marvel superhero has heightened senses to some degree, with Captain America, it makes a lot of sense. He's a military commander and needs those extra senses in order to make better judgment calls. In Cap's first movie, he was able to detect Hydra agents hiding up in the trees. No one else in his platoon was able to do that. Unfortunately, with recent movies, Captain America hasn't been able to show off his senses quite as much. They've not been entirely forgotten, but Cap's more athletic capabilities definitely get most of the spotlight. Captain America hasn't really had any adventures to himself since his first movie, with his 2 sequel films having him work alongside other Avengers. We'd like to see him on his own again, or maybe leading another troop of non-powered soldiers. This will give us another chance to see the awesome military leader using his super senses once again.
Welcome to Asgard.
Heimdall. Soon to be starring in The Dark Tower, Idris Elba is probably best known for his role as DCI John Luthor. Hardened, gruff characters are Elba's specialty. So it's really no surprise that he plays Heimdall, one of the gruffest Norse gods. In the first Thor movie, Loki questions if Odin has ever feared Heimdall, as Heimdall is very powerful. Heimdall responds with no, because he is my king. Loki wasn't kidding though. While Odin is very powerful, Heimdall is definitely a scary dude. He has his phenomenal omni-senses, senses so powerful that they even make Daredevil look weak. He's ridiculously strong and a great fighter too, but the power of his that constantly gets overlooked is his regenerative healing. While Heimdall is recovered from injury, his regenerative healing factor doesn't get shown off very much, probably because Marvel don't really like to show grievous bodily injuries in the same way that the X-Men and DC franchises happily will. Heimdall's healing factor is very real and very overlooked. While Marvel's way of making films doesn't show it off visually, he's recovered from plenty of knocks and blows that would easily kill anyone else. Now we just want him to finally join the Avengers.
Star-Lord. Who?
Star-Lord. Star-Lord's secret superpowers are actually unique to the MCU. While in the movies, he's played as a normal human, albeit with some alien DNA, the sequel is a movie that revolves completely around his secret hidden powers. In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we meet Ego, a living alien planet, who is also the father of Peter Quillen, aka Star-Lord. In the comics, Ego is unrelated to Star-Lord, but in the movie, he's used excellently to make the young hero choose between his two father figures. While Yondu is Star-Lord's real father figure, Ego has so much power that Peter shares. As long as Peter is on the Ego planet, he's able to do pretty much whatever he wants. He's practically a god. Matter manipulation, the ability to create and move around energy, and even play catch with it. It seems there's little that's beyond Quill's power, so long as he trains and hones it. All this power was completely hidden from Peter and the audience in the first movie. Also, thanks to the ending of Guardians Volume 2, it looks like he may never have that power ever again. Maybe they figured that omnipotence would make him too powerful when he and the team joined together to fight Thanos in Infinity War.
Stop.
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's magical powers allow him to do an awful lot. He can teleport, he can levitate, he can use astral projection, yet these are all things that we broadly know he can do. The power that he's been overlooked is also Strange's most interesting, transmutation. During his meeting with Thor, Strange transforms a cup of tea into a large mug of beer. Now that's pretty cool in and of itself, but the beer even refills itself after Thor is done drinking it. Strange can refill beer. He could conceivably turn water into wine. As well as this making him probably the most helpful superhero to have around when you're trying to plan for a party, this also means he could be phenomenally useful in a fight. With the power of transmutation, think of what else is possible. Doctor Strange could turn enemy fire into snowflakes. He could turn mere rocks on the floor into new fancy magical weapons for the Avengers to use. We're assuming that a lot of Infinity War may take place in space, given that Thanos is the villain and the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to join the Avengers. Maybe Strange could even allow them to breathe in space. While we don't know if that sort of power will ever be used in future Avengers films, the possibilities are literally endless.
I accept your surrender.
Thor. Thor, the son of Odin, is known for his phenomenal strength, and of course his command over thunder and lightning. What is often overlooked about Thor is that being the Norse god of thunder, he also has lightning-like speed. It only makes sense that he'd have great speed. While the Flash uses the symbol of lightning, Thor actively controls it. In fact, Thor moves faster than the speed of light. This is commonly overlooked by fans, and often overlooked by the movies themselves, but Thor really does move like lightning. He shows off that speed frequently when he spins Mjolnir to take off. While it would be easy to mistake that as Mjolnir granting Thor the power of flight, it's actually the sheer speed that Thor spins Mjolnir that gets him airborne. If he's able to spin the hammer around that quickly, just imagine how fast he can move when not weighed down. In the comics, he's even able to take down Quicksilver, who's one of the fastest characters in comic history. While he hasn't demonstrated a feat of speed quite that obvious in the Marvel movies yet, there's a good chance he will do in Thor Ragnarok. Quicksilver. We all know about the legendary speed of Quicksilver. While the MCU version isn't as fast as the version we see in the X-Men movies, he definitely has a look far closer to the comics. This version also includes a few more of his powers, including the ones you might not notice. While both versions have superhuman reflexes, MCU's version of Quicksilver is a little sharper. After all, he is able to catch bullets in midair, despite not moving nearly as fast as his X-Men counterpart, who has a far easier time. Quicksilver also has what Marvel calls improved thermal homeostasis. This means that he can resist the effects of friction and temperature, regardless of how fast he moves, which is the only way Quicksilver is able to make those speeds without burning to a crisp. This also allows him to be far more resistant to injuries that would cripple others. It seems that being adapted to having super speed has also affected other areas of Quicksilver's body. The adaptations he has that allow him that monster speed keep him safe from harm for the most part. While Age of Ultron proved that he was certainly not invincible, his hidden abilities kept him alive for a long time. Black Panther. It probably looks like Black Panther has no powers, and instead is powered entirely by his suit. After all, Wakanda is the most technologically advanced nation on Earth in the MCU. The truth, however, is that Black Panther is more than just a suit. He has Iron Man level technology, but he has superpowers to go with it. His super strength and super speed are well documented. His reflexes, on the other hand, don't get quite as much attention. In Civil War, he is phenomenal at hand-to-hand combat, not only because he's skilled, but because he reacts so quickly that it's hard to hit him. In fact, he gets hit significantly less than than any of the other characters in Civil War, save for Spider-Man. The second an opponent has thrown a punch, he's either parried it and countered or leapt out of the way. Super reflexes often get looked over because of the Marvel movies' choreography. With everyone blocking, punching, and kicking, it's easy to think that all these characters are on the same level, but the reflexes T'Challa shows are really a cut above. Best of all, next year, he finally gets his own solo film, so we'll be able to see what else he can do very soon.
What? What are you doing? Hey, I'm Peter.
Spider-Man. A big criticism of Spider-Man Homecoming was that, while it showed a side of Peter from the comics that isn't commonly seen, his use of technology, we didn't see his spider sense. Sure, we get to see the spider tracers, the technologically advanced suits similar to the current Spider-Man run. We didn't get to see that famous spider sense. The behind-the-scenes reason for this was that Marvel were intentionally trying to avoid doing things similar to the previous Spider-Man films. That's why you don't see this version of Peter Parker swinging around Manhattan. They felt that spider sense had been done to death, and they didn't want to show it visually in the same way previous movies had. However, Marvel producers have confirmed that this version of Spider-Man does still have those senses, which is why he can react so quickly. They still exist, but rather than being something that is shown off, they decided to make it a secret hidden power until they find a new unique way to show them off visually. This is the only example we can think of where a power that wasn't hidden to start with becomes hidden in a later reboot. It certainly doesn't ruin the film though, and a lot of people probably won't notice until someone else brings it up. That's all we have time for today. We hope you might have learned something new, and if not, you should tell us what you think we missed out on. Also, remember that emoji quiz from before? We still have the answer. If you guessed, you were right. Did you guess it? Comment below and let us know, and be sure to subscribe to our playlist for more. Thanks for watching.